October 2nd, 1918, 2:20 p.m. Hill 240, Northern Argonne Forest. Private James Collins of the 1st Infantry Division lay behind a fallen oak, listening to a German machine gun methodically shred his platoon. The MG's 08 worked in short bursts, professional, economical, lethal. 3 attempts to rise into the attack. 3 times the American line fell back into shell craters. To Collins's left, Lieutenant Harris screamed into a field telephone, demanding artillery. To his right, Sergeant Wilson, gripping a strange, cumbersome weapon with a bipod. Wilson had received this Browning automatic rifle 4 days ago. The briefing lasted 3 hours. They gave him exactly 1 magazine for training. Now he was the sole automatic rifleman in the platoon, a position so new the manual had yet to prescribe what exactly he should do. 20 pounds of metal, 6 20-round magazines, and the instructor's vague promise: "This will change how you fight." 150 yards ahead, behind a concrete parapet, Oberfeldwebel Erich Schmidt changed the belt on his MG 0815. 22 months on the Western Front had taught him to read combat like an open book. The Americans attacked predictably. Dense waves, bayonets forward, more courage than sense. 1 machine gun stopped a company. 2 machine guns turned an assault into slaughter. This was mathematics that had worked since 1914. What Schmidt did not know was that Sergeant Wilson was rising from behind the tree, that in his hands was a weapon capable of delivering 550 rounds per minute without a mount or crew, that the old mathematics of trench warfare, where the machine gun was king and the infantryman a pawn, had stopped working precisely when American industry began stamping out automatic rifles at a rate of 700 units per day. Wilson pressed the trigger, and the war changed. The firepower equation dominating the Western Front from 1914 to 1918 was brutally simple. Machine guns multiplied by crew survivability equaled battlefield control. A single Maxim pattern weapon could deliver 450 to 600 rounds per minute at ranges exceeding 2,000 yards. These weapons required crews of 3 to 6 men, weighed between 60 and 100 pounds with mount, and transformed defensive positions into killing zones that swallowed entire battalions. During the first day of the Somme offensive in July 1916, German machine gunners inflicted 57,170 British casualties in a single morning. The equation worked because it was asymmetric. The defender's investment of 6 men and 100 pounds of steel could neutralize the attacker's investment of 600 men advancing across open ground. Infantry became secondary, existing primarily to hold ground after artillery and machine guns decided the outcome. When American forces arrived in France in 1917, they inherited this calculus with 670 machine guns total, most obsolete. American doctrine, codified in 1911 regulations, emphasized open warfare, rapid maneuver, rifle marksmanship, aggressive assault. General Pershing believed in this doctrine with near religious fervor. What he had not encountered was industrial warfare. At Belleau Wood in June 1918, Marine units attacking German positions without adequate suppressive fire suffered 50% casualties in some companies. The mathematics were clear. Infantry with bolt-action rifles could not break machine gun positions through courage alone. But Pershing refused to abandon open warfare doctrine. What the AEF needed was mobile firepower. Firepower that moved with infantry, carried by individual soldiers, transforming every squad into a self-contained fire unit. The answer weighed 19 pounds, 8 ounces. John Moses Browning submitted his automatic rifle design on February 27, 1917, 5 weeks before America entered the war. The weapon was not revolutionary in concept. The French Chauchat provided squad-level automatic fire but suffered chronic unreliability. The British Lewis gun, while effective, weighed 28 pounds and required conspicuous 47-round Pan magazines. Browning's genius lay in optimization. The M1918 bar operated on a gas-powered, air-cooled system requiring only 61 parts, compared to the MG08's 383 components. It fired standard 30-06 Springfield cartridges from 20-round detachable magazines. Weight, 19 pounds, light enough for one man to carry and operate. Rate of fire, 550 rounds per minute on full automatic, with a selector allowing semi-automatic precision shooting. The Ordnance Department's initial order in July 1917, 12,000 units. By September, 100,000. By January 1918, 200,000. The industrial challenge was staggering. The bar required sophisticated machining, gas cylinder tolerances within 0.002 of an inch. Colt's patent firearms had to retool entire production lines. The first production bars rolled off Colt's Hartford assembly line in February 1918. Winchester joined in March, Marlin Rockwell in April. Output was exponential: 318 weapons in February, 1,479 in March, 9,149 in April, 23,951 in May. By July 1918, American factories produced 700 BRs daily. 700 instruments of mobile firepower, each representing 12.7 man-hours of skilled labor, 47 pounds of steel, 3.2 pounds of walnut. The logistical implications were enormous. A bar on full automatic emptied its magazine in 2.2 seconds. Continuous cyclic fire for 1 minute consumed 550 rounds. 27 magazines weighing 35 pounds. The Ordnance Department calculated each bar-equipped division required an additional 2.8 million rounds monthly during sustained operations. American industry responded by expanding cartridge production from 1.3 million rounds daily in January 1918 to 4.2 million by September. Lake City Ammunition Plant alone produced 1.7 million .30-06 cartridges every 24 hours. Frankfurt Arsenal, 950,000 rounds daily. Western Cartridge Company, 680,000 daily. The German Empire, strangled by British blockade, saw copper imports fall 92% between 1914 and 1918. Brass for cartridge cases became so scarce that German factories recycled spent shells. American factories consumed copper at 83,000 tons monthly by mid-1918. The bar program alone required 127 tons of walnut for stocks each month. The weapon Wilson carried was not merely a rifle. It was physical manifestation of American industrial power. A 20-pound declaration that the equation of trench warfare had been rewritten by production lines running 3 shifts, 7 days weekly, powered by a nation that had never known blockade. The bar arrived with no tactical doctrine. So new, so fundamentally different, field commanders initially treated it as a light machine gun, assigning crews, issuing tripods, positioning it statically. This squandered the weapon's revolutionary characteristic: mobility. Captain George Rao at the AEF's Small Arms Firing School recognized the problem in June 1918. He had studied the French Chauchat and identified its fundamental flaw. French doctrine treated automatic rifles as miniature machine guns, requiring 2-man teams and emphasizing sustained fire from fixed positions, negating the weapon's primary advantage. Rao's innovation was radical in simplicity. The bar should be operated by a single soldier, fired from the shoulder during movement, employed to suppress specific point targets rather than deliver area fire. He developed training emphasizing 3 techniques: walking fire, advancing while firing short bursts from the hip, marching fire, firing while moving in a crouch, snap shooting, quick bursts at identified targets from standing or kneeling positions. By September 1918, doctrine crystallized into the Automatic Rifle Squad, 12 men organized around 2 bar operators. Instead of infantry advancing under machine gun cover from rear positions, automatic riflemen advanced with the squad, providing immediate suppressive fire against enemy positions as encountered. The tactical transformation was profound. A German MG-08 position required 15 seconds to traverse, acquire a new target, and open effective fire. During those 15 seconds, a bar operator closing from 200 yards could cover 45 feet while delivering 3 to 5 round bursts. The German gunner faced an impossible choice: engage the bar operator and expose himself to squad fire, or engage the squad and allow the automatic riflemen to close to effective range. Lieutenant Samuel Woodfill described the revolution in his Meuse-Argonne after-action report. The automatic rifle changed the nature of assault. Previously, attacking infantry could only rush machine gun positions after artillery suppressed them. With the BAR, squads could fix enemy positions with rifle fire while automatic riflemen maneuvered to flanking positions, allowing the squad to close with grenades. The machine gun was no longer invulnerable. German reports registered shock. A captured document from the 5th Bavarian Reserve Division noted, "The American infantry advances under fire with recklessness, bordering on madness. Their automatic rifles allow them to maintain fire while moving, making them extremely difficult to stop with machine guns alone." This was Pershing's envisioned doctrine: open warfare, aggressive assault, infantry primacy. But open warfare transformed by industrial firepower, not 19th century rifle marksmanship, but mobile automatic fire delivered by weapons American factories produced by thousands. The Meuse-Argonne offensive, launched September 26, 1918, was the largest American military operation to date. 1.2 million soldiers attacking along a 20-mile front. It was the BAR's combat debut at scale. By late September, the AEF had received approximately 52,000 BRs, allocated at 1 per infantry squad where available, with priority to assault divisions. The terrain was viciously unsuited to open warfare. The Argonne forest, dense, hilly, cut by ravines, provided ideal defensive ground. German forces had fortified the region for 4 years with concrete bunkers, interlocking trenches, carefully positioned machine gun nests. The German High Command considered the Argonne impregnable. The first 3 days saw American forces advance 4 miles at a cost of 45,000 casualties. The advance stalled against the Kriemhilde-Stellung. Here the old equation reasserted itself. Machine guns in concrete emplacements stopped American infantry regardless of courage. Entire regiments pinned down, while German gunners methodically reduced attacking formations. Here the bar proved its value. Reports reveal the pattern. Squads equipped with automatic rifles achieved breakthrough where others failed. The weapon's impact was positional. Automatic rifles allowed infantry to maintain offensive momentum where European armies would have halted for artillery support. Second Lieutenant Horace Baker filed a report on October 4th describing his company's assault on Hill 272. The position consisted of 3 concrete bunkers mounting 4 MG-08s with interlocking fields of fire across a 300-yard approach. Previous attacks by 2 companies failed with 40% casualties. Baker's company succeeded by employing a tactic impossible without automatic rifles. While 2 squads delivered suppressive rifle fire, 4 BR operators advanced by bounds, 1 firing while 3 moved, closing to 75 yards. From that range, automatic rifles delivered sufficient volume to force German gunners from weapons long enough for remaining squads to close with grenades. Cost was severe. 38 casualties, including 3 of 4 BR operators. But the position fell, and the tactical lesson spread. Machine gun positions were no longer impassable obstacles requiring artillery. They were tactical problems infantry, properly equipped, could solve through maneuver and firepower. By mid-October, as fresh divisions rotated in, the cumulative effect became apparent. German defensive doctrine relied on machine guns stopping infantry, while reserves counterattacked weak points. This assumed attacking infantry, once stopped, would remain pinned until artillery suppressed, giving defenders time to respond. American infantry armed with BARs did not remain pinned. Colonel Christian von Rennenkampf wrote on October 18th, "American attacks are unlike French or British. Their infantry does not halt under machine gun fire, but continues advancing. Supported by numerous automatic weapons, our machine gun teams suffer unsustainable casualties. Recommend immediate reinforcement or withdrawal." The recommendation was denied. The German army had no reserves. The firepower equation that worked since 1914 was failing because American industry changed the variables. Each American division contained approximately 768 BARs by late October. 29 divisions committed to Meuse-Argonne represented over 22,000 automatic rifles projecting mobile firepower, consuming 3.6 million rounds daily, supported by logistics capable of delivering ammunition from American factories to French battlefields within 45 days. BAR tactical effectiveness can be quantified through suppressive fire mathematics. The volume required to prevent enemy soldiers from effectively returning fire. Post-war studies calculated effective suppression of a machine gun position required approximately 120 rounds impacting within 15 yards per minute. A rifleman firing a bolt-action Springfield achieved perhaps 15 aimed shots per minute. 8 riflemen could theoretically deliver required volume, but only if all 8 maintained continuous, accurate fire while under fire themselves. A single bar operator could deliver that volume alone through 3 5-round bursts per minute, allowing remaining squad members to maneuver rather than fire. This represented radical improvement in tactical efficiency. The same squad could suppress the same target while committing 7 fewer men to suppression. German doctrine for the MG-08 emphasized sustained fire at 300 to 400 rounds per minute defensively. A typical position was allocated 12,000 rounds, enough for 30 to 40 minutes sustained fire. American BAR doctrine emphasized short, controlled bursts, 3 to 5 rounds per burst, 10 to 15 bursts per minute. This allowed BAR operators to maintain suppressive fire for extended periods without exhausting ammunition. A typical load of 6 magazines, 120 rounds, could sustain fire for 8 to 12 minutes of active combat, sufficient for most tactical situations. Reliability comparison was equally stark. The MG-08, while mechanically sound, was water-cooled and required constant maintenance. The cooling jacket held approximately 1 gallon of water, which boiled off during sustained fire and required replacement, vulnerable under fire. The weapon's 383 parts meant numerous potential failure points. Captured German maintenance logs show MG-08 crews expected 1 malfunction requiring disassembly every 2,000 to 3,000 rounds. The BAR, with 61 parts and air-cooled barrel, proved remarkably reliable. Meuse-Argonne after-action reports show malfunction rates of approximately 1 per 4,500 rounds, and most malfunctions could be cleared by the operator without tools. The weapon could fire continuously until barrel overheated, approximately 200 rounds in rapid succession, then resume after brief cooling. This reliability translated directly into tactical advantage. A German crew experiencing malfunction faced a dilemma: clear it under fire or abandon position. Either choice could prove fatal. A bar operator experiencing malfunction cleared it in seconds and resumed firing, or transitioned to sidearm while a squad member provided cover. The psychological impact was perhaps as significant as mechanical advantage. German soldiers in late 1918 were exhausted, malnourished, increasingly aware the war was lost. Facing infantry that advanced under fire while projecting their own automatic fire intensified demoralization. A letter intercepted from a soldier of the 76th Reserve Division, dated October 21st, described the experience. The Americans attack differently than the French or English. They come forward in small groups, always moving, always firing. When we fire at one group, another moves closer. Their automatic rifles sound constantly. We cannot raise our heads without drawing immediate fire. This was new infantry combat mathematics, not massed formations and concentrated machine gun fire of 1914, but dispersed squads moving under cover of their own mobile automatic weapons. The bar's combat introduction was not without severe problems. The weapon's 19-pound weight proved exhausting during sustained operations. Automatic riflemen, burdened with weapons plus 6 to 8 magazines, moved slower than other squad members and tired more quickly. Combat reports from late October note instances of BAR operators discarding magazines or even weapons during prolonged advances to reduce weight. Ammunition consumption proved more severe than planning estimates. A bar operator in heavy combat could expend his entire basic load, 120 rounds, in less than 10 minutes. Resupply became critical vulnerability. Ammunition bearers, designated to carry extra magazines, became priority targets for German marksmen who quickly learned to recognize their function. The weapon's lack of quick change barrel created different problems. During sustained fire, barrel heated to temperatures exceeding 600 degrees Fahrenheit. Touching the barrel with bare skin caused severe burns. Continued firing could cause rounds to cook off in the chamber, a dangerous malfunction. Doctrine called for limiting bursts to prevent overheating, but combat conditions did not always permit such discipline. Training proved inadequate. The vast majority of bar operators received less than 4 hours instruction before combat commitment. Many had fired fewer than 20 rounds in training. The weapon selector switch confused soldiers accustomed to bolt-action rifles. Several units reported operators firing full automatic when semi-automatic would have been more appropriate, quickly exhausting ammunition. These problems were symptomatic of larger challenges. Compression of military evolution, requiring decades in European armies into months for American forces. The British Army spent 4 years learning to integrate Lewis guns. The French adopted the Chauchat in 1915 and were still refining doctrine in 1918. The American Army attempted to field a new automatic weapon, develop tactical doctrine, train operators, and establish logistic support simultaneously while fighting major offensives. That the system worked testified to American industrial capacity. By November 1918, American factories had delivered approximately 85,000 BRs to the AEF. Of these, roughly 52,000 reached frontline units. Accounting for weapons lost, damaged, or held in reserve, American infantry probably employed between 35,000 and 40,000 BRs in combat during the war's final 6 weeks. Impact exceeded numbers. German casualty reports from October and November show marked increases in wounds from automatic weapons fire at close range. This shift reflected tactical transformation. American infantry was closing with German positions and winning firefights at ranges where European infantry lacking mobile automatic fire would have been pinned. BAR operators suffered casualty rates approximately 30% higher than other squad members, reflecting their tactical role as the squad's primary offensive weapon. They advanced first, drew fire first, became priority targets. The 79th Infantry Division's casualty reports show automatic riflemen represented 8% of division strength but 11% of casualties. Yet volunteers never stopped. When a bar operator fell, another soldier picked up the weapon. The role carried no additional pay, no special privileges, only additional danger and exhaustion. Men took it because it was effective. Because carrying 19 pounds meant their squad could assault positions otherwise requiring artillery support. On November 10, 1918, one day before armistice, elements of the 89th Infantry Division attacked German positions near Stenay. The operation had no strategic purpose. German representatives had already signed preliminary armistice terms, but the attack had been ordered. Corporal Thomas Holmes, an automatic rifleman in Company M, 354th Infantry Regiment, participated. His squad approached a German trench at dawn. The defenders opened fire. Holmes's squad went to ground, pinned by machine gun fire from a concrete emplacement 75 yards distant. Holmes did what 6 weeks of combat had trained him to do. He rose, fired a sustained burst from his bar at the German position, moved 15 yards forward while his squad provided covering fire, then fired again. The maneuver repeated 3 times. On the 4th bound, German machine gun fire found him. He was killed instantly, less than 24 hours before armistice. The armistice took effect at 11:00 a.m. on November 11, 1918. American forces ceased fire, having advanced 210 miles beyond their September positions, having broken defensive lines that resisted French and British assaults for 3 years, having inflicted casualties and material losses, contributing decisively to Germany's collapse. German military analysts conducting post-war assessments identified the BAR as a key tactical innovation contributing to American success. General Erich Ludendorff noted in his memoirs, "The American infantry's automatic rifles gave them significant advantage in close combat. German machine gun positions that would have stopped French or British attacks proved insufficient against American squads equipped with these weapons." French General Philippe Pétain, who initially dismissed the bar as unnecessary complication, reversed his assessment after observing American operations in October 1918. He reported the weapon represented genuine tactical innovation, that equipping French infantry with similar weapons should be post-war priority. The British Army, which rejected adopting the BIR during the war, initiated studies in late 1918 to develop a similar weapon. These studies eventually produced the Bren gun, adopted in 1938. Heavily influenced by BIR design principles and tactical doctrine. The BIR remained in American service for 43 years. It fought in Pacific Islands and European hedgerows of World War II, in frozen Korean hills, in Vietnamese jungles. Total production exceeded 350,000 units. The weapon equipped not only American forces, but Allied armies worldwide. Poland manufactured BARs under license in the 1920s. Belgium's Fabrique Nationale produced a modified version that saw service in dozens of countries. This longevity testified to fundamental soundness, to Browning's genius for creating mechanisms simultaneously sophisticated and simple, powerful and reliable. But longevity also obscured the revolutionary nature of the bar's initial deployment. By World War II, automatic rifles were standard infantry equipment. The tactical innovation seeming so radical in 1918 had become conventional wisdom. The true revolution was not mechanical, but industrial. It was proof that American manufacturing could design, produce, and field sophisticated weapon systems in less than 18 months. That American logistics could deliver those weapons, plus millions of rounds they consumed, across an ocean to armies fighting 3,000 miles from nearest American factory. That American tactical doctrine could evolve rapidly enough to employ new weapons effectively, despite having no institutional experience. Sergeant Wilson survived Hill 240. The German machine gun position that pinned his platoon fell after he fired 80 rounds in sustained bursts, forcing the gun crew to abandon their weapon. The platoon advanced, took the position, continued forward. Wilson would fight for another 39 days before armistice. He never received a medal for his actions on October 2nd. They were not considered exceptional enough to warrant recognition. That is perhaps the ultimate testament to the bar's impact. That by late October 1918, automatic riflemen performing exactly the kind of tactical innovation Wilson demonstrated had become so common, they were no longer noteworthy. The weapon that changed infantry warfare did so by making the extraordinary routine. Oberfeldwebel Schmidt also survived. He was captured on November 5th when American forces overran his position. In post-war interrogation, he described fighting American infantry. They had many automatic rifles. When we fired at them, they fired back immediately, not with single shots but with bursts. It was like fighting other machine gunners, except these machine gunners moved and attacked. We could not stop them. The mathematics Schmidt described were the new arithmetic of infantry combat. Mobile automatic fire overcoming static defensive positions through volume, mobility, and industrial capacity to sustain both. It was mathematics written by production lines in Hartford and New Haven, by cargo ships crossing the Atlantic, by supply sergeants maintaining ammunition flows, and ultimately by soldiers like Wilson, who carried those 19 pounds into combat and used them to transform tactical possibilities. The bar did not win the First World War. No single weapon wins wars. But it changed how infantry fought and demonstrated that industrial power, properly applied, could compress decades of tactical evolution into months. The weapon Wilson carried behind that oak tree was more than an automatic rifle. It was proof that America had learned to manufacture victory. When Wilson pressed that trigger, he was not merely suppressing a machine gun position. He was announcing the arrival of a new form of warfare, industrial warfare in its purest expression, where battlefield dominance came not from superior tactics or veteran soldiers, but from the ability to produce, deliver, and employ advanced weapons faster than the enemy could respond. The war would end 39 days later. But the lesson endured. In modern industrial warfare, the nation that could turn production lines into firepower would write the equations deciding victory. The bar was America's first proof of that principle. 19 pounds at a time, 700 units per day, delivered to soldiers who would carry them forward until the guns finally fell silent.